Festival of the Lost. It's back. It's here. It's a lot of the same. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about our thoughts on this. Like, what do I feel about it? Like, what? Well, let's first talk about like the event itself. For those who obviously already know, it's pretty straightforward. But it's basically a free Halloween event that Bungie does like every year in Destiny. It's gone through some changes. We used to have the Haunted Forest, and I miss the Haunted Forest, but now we got Haunted Lost sectors, and they're okay. But you basically you go out into like other activities to get these pages. You bring the pages to the Haunted Lost sector, then you get them not spooky ghost pages to then turn into the vendor, to then get rewards for like the triumphs done and stuff, to get more masks to unlock on your event card. They have new masks, they have some weapons, and one new weapon, and some specifically Horror Story that got some new perks to it, and I think Jurassic Green as well. I think the sniper is the only one that's kind of like the same like perk pool. Nothing really big changed with it, but we do have some loot, some vendor changes. Like now we have engrams that are exclusive to this event that you can turn in for focusing. Like you can focus your engrams for exactly what you want, but there's a catch. There's always got to be a catch. You need candy, a lot of it. So if you have an engram but not a lot of candy, well, you can't focus that engram. So that's a thing. But yeah, it's a lot of the same. Granted, we now have a legend difficulty Haunted Lost sector, which, depending on how you feel about the video game making one enemy red bar into the spongiest of enemies ever, you may not like it. But there is better loot, better way of getting those engrams through there. Originally, the main one, which is what I'm playing right now, did not have a really good loot like RNG, and yeah, it was really bad. But they've made it a little bit better, which is good, maybe. But yeah, it was on the grind and in the regular one, so at least they made that better. Can I switch to? Well, it's dead. So there goes my my combo. Yeah, we did not get any new lost sectors. That's the first thing that I was shocked. I mean, I shouldn't be at this point. I mean, a lot of people were like, God, Chibi, you shouldn't have these high expectations for these free events. They're just there for, like, a distraction. They're not meant to be for, like, big content because they're only here for 3 weeks. But that's the thing. It's like, I always bring back Sparrow Racing, but Sparrow Racing was, like, the prime example of doing an event right, where it evolves every year. And it was here for only two years. But if it went further, I feel like they would continue to do exactly what they were doing, which was adding new tracks. And of course, they still had like the new stuff for like the sparrows and the armor, just like how they do now. But the point is the free part of the game evolved, and it was exciting because of that. And then, yeah, now we're where we are, where Solstice doesn't evolve, or Festival of the Lost. We lose Crimson Days. Yeah. And more specifically with Festival of the Lost, we used to have the Haunted Forest, and now we have this, which I kind of like the Haunted Forest more. So, yeah. Kind of sad about that. Wish it would come back. I was actually really hopeful that it was going to come back. It didn't, obviously. But yeah, and Solstice kind of went like backwards. Like it didn't really evolve because they changed the bonfire thing, and I just kind of don't like what they did. They don't even have the exclusive bosses anymore. Like it's always the Taken one or whatever. Like, gosh dang. Disappointing. But anyways, yeah, they did not add a new lost sector, which is really, really shocking because I'm not trying to be a, armchair dev here, but come on, you're really gonna tell me it was too difficult or too expensive to spam Halloween decorations like these into another lost sector? Highly on the doubt with that one. Like, I just don't believe it. There's no way. It just, why? And even like last year, it was really bad where we only had one new lost sector. So I was like, oh, maybe we'll get one. No, we got none. We did get legend difficulty, so, we got a difficulty new version. But yeah. Kind of disappointing. And yeah, I got that grenade launcher again, which I don't care about. The new weapon, and majority of people just don't care about it because if you already have a decent roll of like a rapid fire frame, I can't remember what it's called, you're pretty much good. Man, I just really wish it could have repulsor's brace and destabilizing round in the same, like, together, but you can't. It's what would have made me kind of maybe want it, but it doesn't have that. So it's sad. But yeah, come on, really? No lost sector, no new one, quote unquote new. Like, this is where it's like, there's no way. I mean, I still remember that quote where it was stated that the festival of the lost events, or just the events in general, like what they would be doing is to fund for the next year's festival or event and stuff like that. And yet I don't even feel like they're using even 5%. Oh, I got the creepy Mara mask. I don't even think they're using 5% of their revenue for this year from last year. Like, I genuinely think that most of the revenue is just going into their pocket. It might be used for other things, but you got to remember how expensive Destiny is as a hobby compared to a lot of other games out there. I mean, it's ridiculous on how bad the monetization is in this game. It's crazy. You would think that it would be free to play, but it's really not. I know, again, Chibi, it's just an event, who cares? But imagine if it was like something that evolved and got really, it was like something that you genuinely, that's the thing that people don't realize when it comes to Destiny, I feel like, is that we play to grind for loot rather than to play just to play in most areas. I mean, the gameplay is amazing and stuff, but when it comes to activities that would be insanely fun, Haunted Forest was one of those that I genuinely did have a lot of fun with, even though it was just the infinite forest. It was just fun to play. Now it's gone. And I do like the Haunted Lost sectors a bit, but it's just, it gets repetitive. And especially when they don't add more Lost sectors to this, it's kind of sad. So it feels like a spit to the face of like all that revenue used for last year, where it's just like, we were lying. Like, I know that there's always like the whole like, well, you don't know how to be a dev, so you should shut up. But really, it's that hard to literally spam these haunted like decorations? This is like being in Forge and Halo, where you have these assets and you just spam them into an already created map, and then put some capture points down for the headless ones to spawn. You can't do that within a year, at least like 1 or 2. It's just, I don't know. I mean, granted, it probably would be a nightmare to try and do all the lost sectors for the legend quest, because you have to wait like what, an hour and 30 minutes or something like that for each lost sector to change, and that was always a big issue. So maybe it's good that we didn't get more. But yeah, it's just, yeah, that part sucks. That part really sucks. The weapon grind is it's all right. I think the main thing that a lot of people are really focused on is the horror story because of the roles that you can get that's new to it. It's also stasis now, but I can't feel that, like, there's something missing. Like, Bungie missed a weapon, a Halloween weapon. A Braytech werewolf. I don't know why it's not back. I really don't. That was probably one of the weapons that I was looking forward to see return. To see, like, what kind of perks. They could have made it Strand. They could have made it Strand. And no, we don't get that. And it's sad. That's sad too. So no new Lost Sector. Braytech werewolf is nowhere to be found. And then that's what we get. Yeah. The grind was really bad originally on the main Lost Sector, but then they made, I guess, the RNG a little bit better on the traditional one, which is what I'm playing right now, not the Legend version. But the Legend version is still by far the best way to grind for the engrams. And when it comes to the engrams, there is one more new thing that they did do that has put people into a very, very, like, mixed mood about it, including myself. And that is, we get a exclusive memento to grind for this year. So, you know that thing that you can put on your crafted weapons that gives it an exclusive shader to just your crafted weapons? Yeah, well, they got one of those. It's literally the super black shader that everyone has been screaming about since Destiny 2, like, Festival Lost came back, but into Destiny 2. That was a shader that a lot of edgy hunters like to wear in Destiny 1, and yeah, like, it's now an exclusive to weapons, and so a lot of people are mixed about it, but it does look amazing on weapons. So a lot of people are grinding for it, but and the chance of them dropping, like, there's a guarantee one with the Triumph, but it's chance after that through the engrams, I believe. I don't think you can just get it outside of the engrams. It's just a random drop. But here's the big problem. My personal big problem. Mementos don't stack. So you got one. And first things first, that's annoying because once you get one, you're going to be going to the Enclave and putting it on one of your weapons because you want to store it and have this unique memento that's only here for this year and won't be back until next year. But then you also have the problem of when the event's over, you only got one. Yikes. Big yikes. Granted, I think people are able to get into their Postmaster. I haven't tried that. Every time I've gotten the memento, I'm like, oh, gotta go to the Enclave. But really, I know there's still time till, like, maybe they will make an update where you can get the memento to stack at least to, like, maybe like 5 or 10 if we're being very generous. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like Bungie's really loving this whole FOMO thing way too much, and they have been. That's my biggest issue with Destiny in general most of the time is the FOMO. That at first they would preach. They were like, oh man, we won't use FOMO anymore, but we'll double down everywhere else with it. It really does feel like that, though. Yeah. Sad. So I'm going to be holding on to that memento until there's, like, the most perfect crafted weapon in the future. That I'm like, I have to have the shader on it. I have to. Whatever it may be. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. So, I mean, it's interesting that we did get something like that. It's cool. An extra, you know, grind. But come on. So, yeah, overall, it's just, I really wish that it would feel like these events are not just there to essentially be a distraction and also to help Bungie's pockets a little bit more. Like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't earn money from these events, but it is a real shame that, like, the effort that's not there is very visible. Like, you can tell that they were just like, yeah, whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being grumpy because I like Halloween events, but especially when you play other Halloween events, like on other games, you start to realize how less we get compared to other games that do like a Halloween exclusive event. So, yeah. I don't want that. But, yeah. It's just... I don't know. I really don't know what they would do to make these events, like, evolve other than, like I mentioned, just adding more sectors every year. That would have been nice. That's why I keep saying that Dawning, I still think that Sparrow Racing should come back. I mean, when there was apparently a statement, I guess that they would said it was just too expensive to make versus what they were earning, and I'm like, what? How is that even possible? Like, I feel like they make a lot of money through, like, these kind of events. So I don't know. Like, why? Just bring back Sparrow Racing. Like, do that. Evolve these events where, like, every year we do get, like, a new thing or something. I don't know. But, you know, regardless, it is what it is. And, you know, I got some engrams out of my grind. This was me, like, playing for a little bit before I started my recording. But, yeah, I do wish that these events could be better. Because I can see them being better if, you know, if you think of things. But it's all right. I can't, like, I'm not going to be super critical on a free event that's here for 3 weeks and it comes back every single year. But I'm always going to be like, there's room for improvement. There's always going to be a way for me to be upset, but I still genuinely am fine with what we have. I'm not like, oh my goodness, get the pitchforks. Bungie is at it again. No. If anything, I'd be more critical on the seasons and the expansions. And I've already shared my thoughts on this season, and I genuinely did like it. I liked it a whole lot more than last season's, that's for sure. But as usual, when it comes to these seasons, they kind of start to dry up. And it's just kind of waiting till the next year's, or next season, not next year, next season, and then the next season, and then the expansion and whatever. And, you know, yeah. But what are your thoughts on this? Like, do you genuinely like Festival of Lost? And if so, explain what you are mainly liking about it. If you don't like it, or there's a part of Festival of Lost you don't like, what is it? And explain why. Also, if you can think of anything that would be really cool that they should do for Festival of Lost to evolve it for, like, next year or just in the future in general, I would like to know what you have in mind, because I would love to see, like, something cool and unique and innovative when it comes to these events where I'm like, oh my god, I'm not even excited about just the loot, I'm excited about the experience. And that's the big thing. That was what Sparrow Racing did. Didn't even really care about the loot that much. I cared about the experience. So we got to bring that back, Bungie. We got to do it. Yeah, do it, Bungie. Come on. Bring it back. But yes, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a Chibi-tastic day, night, evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next video. Chibi out.